Um, kind of right before our Peloponnesian War, we're going to see all these Athenian achievements, and this is just going to be a small taste of some of those things. We're going to get into some more details about other aspects next week. So, first would be Greek drama. Now, the Greeks, they loved plays. They invented the amphitheater, which we can see pictured right here. And it's really, really cool. So it's kind of not kind of, it is like the grandfather for our modern stadiums and movie theaters and things like that. So you have the stage here. Behind here, where it's all ruined, it wouldn't have been ruined back then, obviously. They would have areas for the cast and props and things like that. But it was designed in such a way that you could, with a low whisper, be heard all the way up in the top seats of here. And just because of how the room was designed acoustically. This would not be all open and broken up. There would have been a tall wall behind here for the sound to bounce back, and then it would go up and get to the people up there. But also, they wore these cool masks. Now, there's a couple reasons for them. First off, if you're in the nosebleed seats over there, it's going to be hard for you to see people's facial expressions. So one of the things that the Greeks did actually is they put on these masks that would show their emotions in the play. So that they would go and so the person in the very top row, I then can say, oh, well, that guy's happy right now. Or, Zoe over there could say, oh, well, this person's sad. And that's where you get that happy and sad face that we see with drama masks even today. And one of the weird things about the Greek theater is they only had boy actors. So boys would actually play the role of girls in their acting. And they had other things with their costumes to make it obvious too. But with the Greeks, they made everything very exaggerated. So you knew exactly what was happening and who was supposed to be who. Now, they invented two kinds of drama that we still have today. First off, the tragedy. And these, would be a regular human story, and they end in disaster. Something bad, terrible happens. These are like the movies that Mrs. Kenny likes to watch and the books she likes to read, where they're sad, tearjerkers, and I don't get it at all. I cry like a little baby when things are sad in a movie or a show. Ever since I had my daughter, I do that. I don't know why. But I can't stand those. I want to be happy. So I like the other kind of drama they created, comedies, which typically it was usually about making fun of something. Aristophanes is going to be the most famous of it. So my favorite Greek comedy is actually the story Antigone. And basically, all these Spartan wives are mad because their husbands keep going off to war. And they say, all right, fine. We are not going to be your wives anymore if you don't stop leaving and going to war. It's just a great story. It's very funny. So that's some Greek drama right there. It's good stuff. And we can see, I mean, they influenced us today. We still have those things for our entertainment. All right. Now, Greek art, we've seen lots of things like this. So the Greek art, we've talked about the statues briefly. They had this goal of being very lifelike. I mean, the Greeks, now when we say lifelike, no, all of the Greeks were not totally super duper buff and naked all the time. Thankfully, they wore clothes. I don't know why all their statues have to be naked. But the idea was that they were picturing the ideal version. So all the dudes are like super duper big muscles. They all have the same hairstyle. And girls were all done pretty similarly too. And we see this in their statues, but we also see it depicted on plates and amphoras. Amphora is a fancy word for vase, essentially. Now, I am a bigger fan of the amphoras because we see so much mythology usually depicted on them as well, and we can see some daily life. And now our final slide. I told you it would be short. Just a little bit about history and science. So Herodotus, who you're going to be reading about on Monday, we've talked about him a few times. He's considered our first historian, our father of history. Thucydides, he's going to improve upon this idea because Herodotus, we know, is biased. When he wrote about those Persian wars, he was pro-Greek, anti-Persian. And every time he had a chance to kind of stick it to the Persians, he did, calling them barbarians, making us think Xerxes was crazy, having us doubt if Darius was really the true king or if he murdered Cambyses and Bardiya. We don't know. And Thucydides, he said, no, we need to be even. We need to tell people what happened, and then they can go decide based on the facts. But probably the most influential for at least modern times is going to be a man named Hippocrates. Now, Hippocrates, we sing that in our song Hippocrates and so much more. Hippocrates, he created something called the Hippocratic Oath, and this is something that is so important because it's a promise, a pledge that any doctor promises that they will do whatever they can to help people. They will not harm people. Dr. Danny is not going to do crazy experiments on Karen without her permission. That doctor's first job is to save lives and to help people. And it's an important thing. And, that's something you want. You want your doctors focus to be on helping you rather than other things. So, like I said, this was a really quick set of notes because I wanted us to have enough time to work on our assignment because I don't love giving assignments on Fridays, but because of the snow day, and so we don't get too far behind, because I love Greece, but I really super duper want to get to India, so then we can also then get to China and Rome. The show must go on. So I'm stopping the recording here. Do we have any questions